Hollywood has a tendency to overproduce movies. They have huge casts of actors with lots of stars, more CGI than real shots, explosions and stunts that you wouldn't believe, original music from famous bands, and stories filled to the brim with scene changes, multiple villains, and Hollywood cliches. They spend so much time on the flash and the pomp that they forget that movie making is about storytelling. Their stories get so complex that they're hard to follow, and while some of the parts are really good, there's a lot that gets underfunded and underdeveloped. It leads to lopsided movies that are somewhat entertaining but devoid of any depth. Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and sometimes television shows, and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today I'm going over Black Adam. It was directed by Jean Collet-Serra and suffers from the three-writer curse. It was written by Adam Sitskil, Rory Haynes, and Sohrab Noshervani. It stars Dwayne Johnson, Aldous Hodge, and Pierce Brosnan. Black Adam is a movie that takes all the worst aspects of Hollywood and the basic elements of superhero movies and mashes them together into an abomination. The story, cast, soundtrack, and visuals all have major flaws, and this movie just doesn't work on a lot of levels. With how much money they spent on this film and the number of high-profile actors, I expected much better quality and a much better understanding of the source material. The movie synopsis reads like this. Nearly 5,000 years ago, after he was bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods, and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. There are a lot of things to say about this movie, and most of them are negative, so I'm going to start with the positive. Pierce Brosnan and Aldous Hodge are great as Dr. Fate and Hawkman. Both of them puts real passion into their performances, and when they were on screen, I could actually take the story seriously. Brosnan takes the campy script and breathes life into it with his expressions and ability as a storyteller. He doesn't get nearly enough time to flesh out the B plot line that they gave him, and the emotions end up feeling cut short, but he tries his best to act as a wizened mentor to the team and give emotional support and guidance to Hodge's Hawkman. Aldous Hodge plays a typical goody two-shoes action hero, but he does it with a lot more passion and emotion than the rest of the cast, and his scenes end up being fun. His performance suffers from the hokey dialogue and the one-dimensional nature of his character, but he plays this straight man well. The action sequences are a lot of fun, and the movie is at its best when CGI Black Adam is flying around shooting lightning and killing soldiers. Adam whizzes around destroying buildings and cracking one-liners, and there are a lot of fun moments like when Adam has a Mexican standoff with some soldiers. The good, the bad, and the ugly theme starts to play, everyone looks all tense, and then BLAM! Adam starts throwing lightning bolts around. Problem with the movie is everything else. Those action sequences take up maybe 20 to 30 minutes of the film, and the rest is a crappy origin story that hops from one train of thought to another and never finishes any of them. It introduces concepts that it spends precious time on, such as the Eternium mineral, that just get forgotten about. It also wastes a lot of time introducing pointless characters that are intended to be used in future films. The Justice Society did not need to be in this film at all. Even though Hodge and Brosnan give great performances, their characters really don't need to be here. We get those four heroes who all needed to be introduced, plus Amanda Waller, an entire cast of human characters from Kahndaq, an evil mercenary group, and Shazam and the Wizards. There are too many characters, and the film feels disjointed trying to swap between all of them. The movie doesn't explain anyone's powers well, and there are quite a few things that don't make sense within the story's context. Adam changes his mind every few seconds, for basically no reason at all, and his past and how he got the powers just doesn't line up. It varies greatly from the comic origins of Black Adam, and doesn't make much sense given the dialogue you hear from Shazam at the beginning. The film throws exposition dumps at the audience one after another, and Black Adam ends up sitting there for most of the movie listening to other people explain what's going on. Every once in a while you get some low-stakes fighting, and then towards the end, the villain comes out of nowhere. The emotions are stunted, and there are quite a few wooden performances that only make things worse. Dwayne Johnson gives a poor performance. He's both wooden and completely out of character. He doesn't even bother attempting an accent and only speaks the language of Kahndaq once or twice. His face is like a stone the entire movie, never changing expressions and only moving when he needs to spew out another one-liner. The worst part is, he doesn't actually do that much in the film. There's more CGI Black Adam in here than there is Dwayne Johnson. It's too bad they couldn't CGI some emotion onto his face. The rest of the cast is a mixed bag, with some of them giving decent performances that just don't get enough time, and others wasting their screen time by reading their lines like an automaton. At one point, a character gets a phone call from their child, telling them that their brother has been shot, and the actress doesn't even stop for a second to look concerned. It's kinda sad because I've seen most of these actors do much better work. On top of a failed story and a hit or miss cast, the film's production quality is all over the place. As I said earlier, when the fight scenes are happening, the animation and CGI are decent, and the soundtrack feels good, but the rest of the time, the music feels overbearing, and the graphics look kind of shoddy. For example, there's a scene where Adam is looking out over his kingdom from the ruins of a building. The room he's in looks fine, but the CGI background stands out like a sore thumb. It looks flat. Another example is when the creatures are attacking the civilians toward the end of the film, and the two humans are fighting them. The creatures look cheesy and bad, and the background is clearly CGI'd in. The music is always present, and it quickly becomes overbearing. It's under every piece of dialogue, and it's often competing for attention. There are a lot of cool and iconic tracks in here that are fun to listen to, but there are also a lot of boilerplate tracks that the film just doesn't know when to put away. Black Adam is a testament to how money alone can't produce a good film. You need solid direction, a good story, actors who want to be there, and fine-tuned production quality. If you bring in too many creative voices and rely on star power alone, you're gonna end up with a crappy movie. 4 out of 10.